Hi everyone, I'm Briana Beverly. I'm here with Eric Priest. How are you doing, Eric?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Okay. What have you been up to today?
Training, 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 training. That's literally it. Wake up, like warm up here, like at my place, and like eat and nutrition, and then training, and then or meetings and this and that. Just getting things organized.
That's good though that you're keeping busy for the next fight maybe coming up soon. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so first and foremost, I want to congratulate you. I know that you had a victory recently over Jose Sanchez. Congratulations. How did you
Thank you.
feel
No,
about
appreciate
that?
it. It was a sturdy opponent. And going into that fight, we kind of had a game plan that we're going to execute, and he didn't do anything that we thought he was going to do. Pretty much, it doesn't matter how much like tape you can study and this or that, but like sometimes you get in there and things just like don't go to plan, essentially. And a lot of adapting and adjusting. So it was a great learning experience for me personally. And he was a vet of almost like 30 fights, and so it's a good moment to like learn some things and try some things out. They're better now.
Like I know that every time you go into a fight, you have a game plan. There's something that you and your team probably talk about, like, okay, this is what you're gonna do, this is how you're gonna do it. Was there any changes that you had to make for this fight specifically?
Uh, Yeah, I mean, not necessarily changes, just like emphasis on certain things. Like, okay, we're really gonna need to work with the jab on this one, or like we're gonna try to set up this punch, or that like just like more that type of stuff. And you kind of just narrow down on somebody's habits and what they do, and okay, like this is how I can capitalize on this or that. Not necessarily like changes, but like adjustments for sure.
And you think that it's like for every opponent you have, you always have to do certain things with certain people? Because I'm sure you study them before you have a fight?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I,
Okay.
I don't really understand people that don't. It's like it's literally like a blueprint, like right there of like how somebody and you can pick up on things like habits and patterns on people, and everybody's got them. Everybody's got patterns. Like we're human, and
Yeah.
so it's like yeah, I think it's like not to don't get to the point where you psych yourself out, but
Yeah.
it's important to film like study film and stuff. So
If you weren't doing boxing, would there be another sport that you kind of wanted to do or would have got professionally in?
I don't know. I mean, something that also involves hitting people. I don't know. Like Uh, I don't know. I like to fight, something along those lines. I did competed in like jujitsu and kickboxing and a lot of that stuff. So I'd probably be giving out free punches somewhere else. I mean, so
Probably be like what, the Karate Kid, probably.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But
Either
that's
that or be
so.
like a nerd or something. I don't know.
So you think like jujitsu? I know you said you've done it. Do you think it kind of relate? I mean, obviously it's not the same as boxing, but there's a lot of techniques that are kind of similar. Do you think, or is it completely different things?
I think it's pretty different. I mean, jiu-jitsu's on the ground, boxing standing up, but
Yeah.
like I mean, jiu-jitsu's a head game, and a lot of people don't realize that. It's a chess match. And it causes you to like really think about what you're doing, and try to like find openings here and there. And I know a lot of people, even in like business, like they do it, and random things just because of the way it works your mind. And boxing's a little bit the same way.
Yeah.
Boxing, you obviously have less time to think, but there is strategy. There is things that go into it, that I don't know, he can benefit. So I mean, I
Mhm.
guess they do correlate in the same way
Yeah.
like combat sports correlate to each other, but they are different a little bit.
Completely different. You're like, they're completely different. It's nothing the same. But that's good. I mean, you have knowledge then in kind of like you said, fighting. So anything that has to do with punching people is like what you love to do, right? So you've done
Yeah,
it for a while because I kind of wanted to go into something that you won a while back in Kansas because you are from Kansas, right? So
yeah,
the
I
change
am.
from Kansas and LA, is it a complete different change for you? Like, is it similar?
It's so funny that you say like I'm from Kansas because actually a lot of people don't realize that. I'm pretty sure like people from Kansas don't even realize I'm from Kansas. Like I went to like high school there. It's like
Yeah.
it's hilarious to me. People always think I'm from California.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is very different. I mean, you're going from like the Midwest, which is like I don't know, Wizard of Oz, to like California, which is like Beach Boys. So it's like it's just different, I guess. I've seen like the you're going like from like a I mean, I'm from Kansas City, like the city part, but like to like a bigger city, which is like Los Angeles, which was
Yeah.
like um just, it's one of the biggest cities in the world. So it is different, like the culture and stuff like that. But also in the boxing aspect of things, like you definitely take a step up when you go to Los Angeles,
For sure.
um, in the pro scene. And now I'm in Vegas doing training camp. So
It's probably
yeah, so
cool
now
there.
it's so hot. I'll walk out and I'll think I'm in like the sands of Dune,
Yeah,
like
no, seriously. It's
yeah,
a change for sure.
yeah,
I know how you feel. So it's completely
yeah.
360. But you and Candace, like how did boxing come about? Was your family a part of boxing? Was it in your family history or just
Not really. I mean, it was more like my dad who's in the military and
uh-huh.
that type of stuff, and me and my brother, I think we kind of stumbled into just violent arts on our own, pretty much. Like if I wasn't fighting in the gym, I was like getting in fights or
Yeah.
this or that, and I just had a knack for it, really really young, and I don't know. I think I just fell in love with it. Well, I was we were like me and my brother. We were raised like very like with work ethic.
Uh-huh.
From first generation immigrant mom from Korea, and then a dad fresh out of the military. It
Hmm.
was just like we learned work ethic. We learned hard work. We learned don't take shit from nobody. We never back down. It's like that. I mean, that just those kind of like mentalities and I mean, in his own way, my brother's correlated to becoming very successful in business. He eventually fell away from the fight game and whatnot, but in me, I really took that to heart and a lot of the principles that I grew up with, and kind of just put those towards fighting. And eventually, like I got really good, pretty much. So, but it wasn't like my dad was a boxer. Or,
Yeah.
I come from a fighting family. It was just I just really like to like beat people up legally.
I mean, you just said you love hitting people for fun, but how does it feel when you knock somebody out? Like, I'm pretty sure, do you go in the ring thinking you're gonna knock them out, or is that just it just happens?
It just happens. It's usually an accident. I mean, you prepare to like go the full distance every single fight, and you're kind of like, hey, if I land this shot, like he could go out, and you play scenarios. Like, okay, like, what I'm gonna do, like you prepare how it just like that type of stuff. But then sometimes it's just like I've had knockouts where like I was going for it, and then it didn't happen, and then sometimes I would just like throw something and they'd just be on the ground, and you'd be like, whoa, like you really don't know.
Kind of like a just hit or miss. You're lucky, you're lucky.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, yeah, it's like I mean, sometimes the shot lands, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to kind of go a little bit off track of boxing and I want to go into like your personal life. So I looked into your Instagram and you had posted about, I would say 2021-ish for you modeled for a company called Wilhelmina or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how that came to be?
So I was training with the Pacquiao camp at that time in Los Angeles, and we were doing these media workouts at I think it's Griffith Park, yeah.
Yeah.
And Pat Pacquiao, he brings out a whole like group of people. They're always like taking pictures, stuff like that. And I was just kind of part of the training group. And somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, you should like look into modeling." And I'm like, dude, I get punched in the face. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not a kind of thing. And then they got me like a shoot with I think it was Foot Locker a while back. And hey, okay, let's try out this shoot, we'll pay you and this and that. And I was like, oh, this is like pretty interesting. I was like, I don't really,
Yeah.
I don't have too much of a knowledge in it. And basically they're like, hey, like I have a connection with this company called Wilhelmina. I would love to like be able to submit some of these photos for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then I looked into Wilhelmina and I was like, oh, yeah, it's a very established agency.
It is.
Um, and I was like, oh, this is kind of crazy kind of thing. And so I kind of like I kind of more did it for fun.
Yeah.
Um, and just to say that I did. And I was signed with them for 2 years or something.
Okay.
I believe I signed in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, like late 2021. And then yeah, I was signed for about like 2 years, and eventually it just got to the point where boxing was moving at such a fast pace. And I was fighting, so I was always training, faces getting scuffed up. Agents don't really like that.
Yeah.
And it gets kind of hard to juggle the two because they don't really like work together.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a obviously boxing is like my priority. It's like my thing. So just kind of had to cut ties there. But it was a cool experience, and like got to learn about like a whole different industry while doing that. So I don't label myself as a model, but
Yeah.
it was kind of cool to experience that. Yeah.
Within your time being out in LA, like you've already kind of established yourself in a way that people know who you are in a sense of like collaborating with like big influencers on social media, correct?
Something like that. I more so like that happened through boxing. They were
Really?
just like fans of boxing, or they would be working out, or they're interested in boxing, or I meet them at like a fight or something like
Yeah.
that. And then that usually just turned to friendship. And from it wasn't, it kind of just went from there. But it's kind of interesting. I feel like half of like just the fan base or anything like that is people that don't necessarily aren't like just crazy boxing enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Um, People that are more a little bit mainstream. So there's a little bit of like cross promotion there, which is has worked to my benefit. But yeah, I I don't know if I look like a TikToker, but I mean, like,
You do, you do. You look like you do those
thank you.
dances.
I I don't know how to feel about that, but I appreciate it. I think I don't know. Like,
Yeah, no, because that's funny you say that. And I think kind of going back to a lot of other boxers, like I don't know if you know, like Brian Garcia, for example, he's been very much so in social media and he's done some crazy things on TikTok. I mean, on Twitter before his fight, kind of like genius marketing, right? Do you ever think that you would ever get to that point of it could work to my benefit or something like that?
oh, for sure. I've definitely to a certain degree monetized social media for my benefit.
Yeah.
But like I don't know if I'd ever get to that point. Like I'm also with Golden Boy, and I know Ryan is, and he's kind of done his own thing with that. And I'm not a hater by any means. Like he, did like I mean, at this point, I think he could like post whatever he wants. But I don't know if I'll ever get to like that point of doing that. My social media is I would say business based for me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like it's your resume. It's your it's where I make my business connections like that. I don't really post too much about like my personal life. I've been told I probably should do that because people who don't just always want to see boxing stuff. Like, yeah, dude, we get it, you box kind of thing.
What else
But
can you do? No.
yeah, you're like, dude, like, do you have a family, or do you, just like, what do
Yeah,
you do
yeah,
in your free time, kind
yeah,
of thing.
for sure.
But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there was a point in my career eventually down the line, sooner than later, probably that it will turn to like a um less of a brand and more of a person kind of
Yeah,
thing. But we'll see.
for sure.
Start calling people out on social media. That's probably more so what I would do.
That's what I was about to say because I know there's a lot of like there's some kind of I don't know if you know Austin McBroom, for example, he made like this whole boxing event like through social media. Would you
Yeah.
ever join one of those things?
No.
No, why?
No. I'm not an influencer boxer. Like
You're
I'm
more
in
of like,
this like
yeah,
yeah, I'm winning this to win a world title, and then like write my name in the books, and then get out kind of thing.
yeah.
That's where my where I'm headed with this. So yeah, I'm less concerned unless there's like just an absolute fat paycheck or something in there. There's not really much of
Yeah.
a reason to like join something. I mean, and I also I have friends that compete in like the misfits boxing and stuff, influencers and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. Um, and all power to them. I think they're just doing it for different reasons. It helps
Yeah.
build their brand and this not, but I could really care less about a lot of that stuff. I'm just trying to crack some heads in and win a world title.
Do you think that there's a difference between social media boxers and like you professional boxers? Because I'm trying to like mix the two and say, oh, well, maybe we didn't start off like the way you did, but we're still considered boxers. There's a difference. I think there's a fine line between that and you. You know what I mean? Do you agree
Yeah,
with that?
yeah, I'm way better.
Okay.
Yeah, that. Yeah, like
That's just the difference.
it's not. Yeah, I mean, like, it's you take the like there's some guys with some skill, I guess. But like, you put them against a really good amateur fighter, and they would look terrible. I mean, like, there's different levels in skill, especially once you start hitting like peaks and
Mhm.
like certain things like yeah, it's not the same. Like I look at like an influencer boxer who probably started boxing when they were like 20 years old. Okay, yeah, they probably like sparred maybe 200 rounds or something.
Uh-huh.
I've probably sparred like up to 5 to 6,000 rounds in my
Wow.
life. And just the fight experience, like being in the ring, like part of boxing is learning how to take a punch, and not just like the guys that are hitting these influencers are also influencers. They don't really
Yeah.
know how to hit either.
Mhm.
It's totally different when you get a guy in there that knows how to crack ribs and break things and truly do it at an expert level.
Yeah.
The whole like 10,000 hours to be an expert in something. Like I put in my 10,000 hours,
Yeah.
so it's just different. Like I said, no hate or anything towards them. I got buddies that do it,
Yeah.
but it's just not the same level of competition.
Let me ask you a question. And like you could be as honest as you want. If you say you're gonna knock him out, you feel like you could knock him out, then that's you. If you were to like, let's just say the money was right, and Jake Paul is kind of getting in boxing pretty good, if you ask me. It's kind of like he's starting to put himself into boxing more than like YouTube and stuff. If he were to fight you, who do you think would win?
I don't think he would hit me.
Why?
See, I mean, first of all, like, I'm smaller than him by like a lot. He's fighting Mike Tyson at like 220 pounds. I fight at 160 pounds. So
That's
I was
true.
just like, all right, it's like speed's out of the equation.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't even think it would be fair on. I mean, just from an experience level, it's different. I mean, he can he fought like Tommy Fury and this and that. Tommy Fury's a sausage. I don't think he's that good either. And Tommy beat him. So it's like,
You're
uh,
like, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm
yeah, I mean, like, can he fight? Is he a tough guy? And does he hit hard? Yes, for sure. But I mean, like, look at the guys that he's fought. Like, he's fought, just like Diaz, a retired Tyron Woodley, a 60-year-old Mike Tyson coming up. You know, it's
who do you
Tommy
got in that
Fury.
fight?
It's who do I have? I probably have Jake, to be honest. They're having either right now. They're even having like health issues with the whole thing. I
Mhm.
mean, like Tyson, like it's just not fair. Tyson's
Yeah.
not the fighter that he used to be, and if it goes beyond the fourth round or third round, I don't think it'll. Um, I don't even think it's like Tyson will have a chance. I mean, even in Tyson's prime, he was knocking guys out in the first 4 rounds. Anyways, that's what he was known for.
Yeah.
So he's not really a distance fighter, and essentially, I don't know. Like I think Jake is doing a lot of good things for boxing, especially in the way that he's getting involved with the promotion side of things,
Yeah.
especially in women's boxing, and his collaboration with Team USA on the amateur level. I think he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing,
Yeah.
but not is Jake Paul ever going to win a world title? No,
No.
I don't believe so.
You will.
Yeah, I will.
If you can fight anyone like in your division, who is someone that you would like, okay, this is someone that I think I can win and I can knock them out. Who is someone that you can one up?
Whoever's at the top, I guess, like, I mean, whoever, when I am the mandatory for the world title, like, which, like, hopefully in the next year, I'll
Huh.
be, I'll be in that conversation. Um, that's the plan. Like whoever's there,
Yeah.
frankly, I don't care. Just like names and all, like who exactly. Like it's just whoever's at the top. If you're not at the top, then yeah, I really don't care. You're just more of a stepping stone for me. That's
Okay.
yeah. I mean, every fight's really important. I emphasize that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. The end goal is just whoever's holding that.
Another fighter that you would possibly want to fight. Like if you've always wanted to fight your whole life, it could be like, for example, past or now, who would be one person you would want to fight? Or that you've always thought, like, okay, this is a person I really, really, really want to fight.
That's a hard question. That's super difficult. I mean, like, because in my head, I think like logically, I'm like, oh, like who's in my weight class
Yeah.
and or this or that. I don't know. I really don't know. I shoot. I don't know.
No, just
Really.
you're up for like anybody, like anyone that they put you in, like you said, you're there to win.
Yeah, I'm like if you're in front of me, I'm trying to I'm coming for your head kind of
Yeah.
thing. When the time comes for the best to fight the best, and I'm
Yeah.
like that mandatory, that is truly fighting the best. So I mean, I think I'll have a better idea. Like, ask me like 9 months from now when I can, like right now it's like it's a little bit ways off, but not too far off. Like it's definitely in the conversation with me and my promoters, my managers. Like, all right, so So like we want to be in title contention by next year, like sometime next year. So it's not too far off, but ask me in like 9 months, and I think I'll have a better idea
Okay.
to answer that question.
But Golden Boy, how did that come to be? How did they reach out to you? Did you kind of reach out to them, or how did that go?
I was really focused on building my career without signing a long-term deal for at the beginning of my career, and um, I don't know. Multiple promoters took an interest in me, just like in they just would have me on their cards and this and that, and so I was blessed enough to stay active,
Yeah.
um, like at the very early part of my career, and then eventually we kind of hit these like you kind of hit like the 8 fight 9 mark, right, and you're kind of like, okay, well, it's probably about that time to like start signing a deal, and around that time, like, um, I like Golden Boy. If you really look at boxing, like Golden Boy's built some of the biggest stars in boxing, like from Canelo, like De La Hoya, Ryan, these huge pay-per-view stars. And I kind of took an interest in that note, and they reached out to my manager, and it was funny. I was on a run at the time. The manager calls me. She's like, "Hey, can you give me a call?" So I finished the run, get a call, and like, hey, like we like, Golden Boy wants to sit down and talk with you and stuff like that. And so um, it really, I kind of trusted my gut with that, and it's worked out great. Our relationship is solid, and yeah, but they initially reached out, and like it's been smooth sailing ever since. Just staying busy and fighting, and like they're I like Golden Boy because they're they're not I don't know, like for me, for example, like they're not trying to just build me up and this or that. Like I'm fighting hard guys, I'm taking hard fights. I'm really climbing ranks.
Mhm.
Like right now, like within my second fight with Golden Boy, like Boxrec had me at number 6 in the US, and just climbing these ranks like,
Yeah.
quick.
Mhm.
So yeah, just it's I like what they're doing with my career.
Cutting weight. I'm a foodie. I love eating. Eating is like my favorite thing in the world. So for you, cutting, how do you do it? Do you ever have temptations like, wow, I can't eat this right now. Like I'm cutting, I'm trying to get fit for a fight or stuff like that?
Oh yeah, all the time for sure. But it's like one of those things. Like cutting weight's like just part of the sport, and I think that once you start cutting weight and you start disciplining that area of your life, like naturally my mind becomes more focused towards getting ready for the fight.
Mhm.
Because I like immediately take away like things that I want, and I have these urges and I have these like
Yeah.
cravings, and like you not just in food, but you take away my I believe like my friends and my family, and I can't do things, and the diet and all this stuff, and it builds up this like almost like frustration slash motivation.
Uh-huh.
Like if I'm gonna do this, like somebody's gonna pay for it, or if I'm gonna do this, like I'm going all in, and that correlates like your whole life becomes more disciplined once you start disciplining food.
That's so good.
Yeah, so I mean, I fear, yeah, I mean, for sure, I'm like, dude, like I freaking would kill for a pizza or something like that. Like, yeah, sounds great,
Yeah.
but I want to win. And making weights, like that's a big part of the job is just being eligible to fight in that weight class. So I feel like if I miss weight, then I let like a manager down, my promoter down, I let myself down, and I can't do that. So it's kind of like if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
So you just cut it out and get the job done. And yeah, I mean there'll be time to eat a bunch of crap afterwards. So
During this time, what's one food, like anything, any restaurant that you crave the most?
Italian food, honestly. I mean I'm Asian, but I love Italian food. Like I'm Western.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's like pasta, like chicken parmesan, like just that type of stuff. It's so bomb, and I'm getting hungry thinking about it.
At what age did you start boxing?
I started training in combat sports really young, probably 9 or 10 years old. Kickboxing, karate, jujitsu, wrestling. I was just doing a lot, like, everything. Just building a base of athleticism, I would
Mhm.
say. Getting used to the competition aspect of like one on one, and then probably around like 13 or so, I kind of started narrowing straight into boxing.
Uh-huh.
I always just trained boxing, and then I'll go compete in a kickboxing tournament or a karate tournament or a jiu-jitsu tournament. But then I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna start narrowing down just boxing. Probably around 13 years old. So yeah, so pretty young.
So you started amateurs at what age?
Uh, 13, 14,
Okay.
13. So, yeah. Um, but I had like amateur fights, like kickboxing matches, when I was like 11.
Wow.
So like I was used to like getting punched in the face. I was already giving out punches, at a pretty young age. So,
Yeah.
um, and I don't know, at that age, like once you start hitting like 12, 13, like that's when like actual skill kind of starts getting developed in fighters. So it
Yeah.
was a really good time. Like I
Mhm.
was growing, I was learning how to like just be athletic and like use my body,
Yeah.
and muscle coordination and that type of stuff. So yeah.
We kind of wrapped up a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about, but I did want to mention the Kansas Golden Gloves. I know that was something that you won in 2017. I don't know if it was similar. It's not like an Olympics, but it's similar, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, so it's Golden Gloves is like there's two major boxing tournaments
Yeah.
in the world, and it's like you either go to the Olympics or you win the Golden Gloves, pretty much. There's like the two biggest tournaments.
Okay.
They're not part of the same organization, but they're both like super. They have a lot of like word value to them,
Uh-huh.
essentially. So yeah, like it's just two different tournaments, like two different organizations, but very important, pretty much.
Is there something that you say to yourself before you get in the ring?
Maximum effort.
People that like don't really understand what you mean by that, like what is the definition that in your mind, like what is that definition?
It's basically like shoot, like before I get in there, it's like, hey, I like I don't know. I'm gonna give it everything. I would just be like, all right, maximum effort. Let's go. It's like
Yeah.
just like this is what we're gonna do. But either that or I have actually tattooed on my wrist.
Huh.
It's basically like we who are about to die salute you.
Oh, wow.
Um, and that is basically like what gladiators used to say to Caesar before they went to go die in the Colosseum. And they would basically like, like we who are about to die salute you. And so for me, it's kind of like every time I get in there, I accept like I'm gonna feel some pain. I'm gonna feel, uncomfort. I'm gonna go toe to toe with whoever's sitting across from me. And it's just like the rawest form of human nature is just to go in there and just fight somebody toe to toe. Who's the bigger man, and I'm willing to go out on my shield and, like put my health on the line. So that's something that really motivates me. It's like, hey, you know what, this is like the most rare form of humanity. Like just raw. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I'm just like totally, I'm ready to die, I'm ready to get in there kind of thing. So
Yeah. So it's kind of like a motivation for you to just keep going and what happens, happens, but you're always thinking positive out of it.
yeah, for sure. I accept the fact that I'm about to go to war, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Okay. Cool. I like
You know,
that. Okay, you did mention you were Korean. So are you mixed or are you just Korean?
I'm mixed. I'm
Okay.
mixed. Yeah. Like so my mom, like I said, is from Korea. My dad, is Caucasian, uh, white, some might say, and to be politically correct. And so yeah, yeah.
How does your mom's heritage and tradition, how does that like does that somewhat bring you I don't know, diversity into boxing like that? Does that help you in a way to know where you come from? Like that background has some diversity in for you or
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like I used to growing up in Kansas, not too many Asian people, so it was kind of like weird to think growing up, but as I've gotten older, I've like really developed a sense of pride in
yeah,
my heritage and like being Korean. There's not too many Koreans in boxing in general, and so now it's something that I'm really proud of, and I'm really honored to be able to represent like my culture in the sport. That's not very saturated by them. I mean, but like Koreans, like whether in anything they do, they work really hard, and
yeah,
so like I said, like my mom really emphasize that base and that foundation, these principles of hard work. Like, we didn't grow up with video games. We didn't grow up with doing this or doing that. We studied hard. We worked hard. We never quit, like that type of stuff.
yeah.
Um, so those are the foundations and principles that my mom kind of brought over from Korea that I was raised with.
Awesome, that's great. So it's kind of like what has been the most significant challenges you faced in your boxing career so far?
Um, Myself, I would say. Like just like the same focus, same discipline part. It's like I want to say it hasn't been like it for me it's just the hardest part of boxing. It's just like Like the hardest part of boxing is like going to bed early, like staying focused, like eating the right foods, staying in the gym, staying training, not going to the club or like not, like not entertaining like distractions and this and that, anything that can guide you off course. It's really just like narrow tunnel vision. And that's the hardest, that's probably the biggest challenge for most people. I mean, getting in the ring and fighting somebody is not as hard as like the own things that like I feel like I battle like every single day in my own head, of just not entertaining anything, no distractions, and staying focused. I would say that's the hardest part.
How do you overcome it?
You make a decision in your own head. You don't do it for anybody else. You
Yeah.
make a decision. You say like this, like are the actions that I'm doing today going to align with the person that I want to be a year from now, kind of thing. Like if you only got 24 hours in a day, then like, and you're awake for 18 of those hours, like the decisions that you make in those time are going to like create the person that you want or don't want to be. So that's I kind of tell myself that, and if I can't say motivated, I'll say disciplined.
Thank you so much, Eric, for your time. You were great. I'm glad we had a little conversation about everything about your life. You're inspiring, and I'm sure you're going to inspire a lot of people, especially younger crowds, because I know a lot of younger crowds are looking up to you and they know that, your confidence is what's going to help them get to where they want to be. So I just want to thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.